And if you don't have this, you will be wasting years, all to find out that you should have just come back to this, and this is exactly what's going to propel your success ahead as efficiently as you can imagine. Hello everybody, my name is Jacquelle and welcome to my channel where I am supporting fellow entrepreneurs and professionals who feel underestimated, break through the odds, and finally find the career of their dreams. I will say congratulations to us both because this is my first video that I'm putting out, and I have been very much encouraged to share my story for many years. I'm here to connect with you who is out there with your dreams, with your goals, with your struggles and your challenges and the things that you're trying to push through, to understand how we can far better support the people who are underestimated. And it's a big concern of mine. So I'm here, I'm putting myself out there. I know that this is not perfect, but it's been a very long time coming. Let's get started. I want to start with what I feel is the core of what matters the most in order for you to be successful in business, in career, and in life, that a lot of people overlook, overcomplicate, and pay far too little attention to, but it really comes down to just 6 key things. And once you nail this, it will be a completely foolproof method for you to achieve success. If you want, you can also follow along with a worksheet that I prepared that goes through this framework and that you can take with you after this video. Do yourself, like literally write it in there so that you have no deviance from the focus that you have. And I have this around 2 different topics. One is around mindset and making sure that you master exactly what it is that you need to do to frame your mind to be ready to walk into this life and this moment. The second is business and the focus that you must have, keyword must, in order to succeed in your business. And if you don't have this, you will be wasting years, all to find out that you should have just come back to this, and this is exactly what's going to propel your success ahead as efficiently as you can imagine. So I'll start first with the mindset side of things, and I'll make a separate video to focus on the business so that I can go a bit deeper within each. And if you want to watch that video, I'll link it here. I'll figure out how to do that. But let's start with mindset. Now, this framework goes through the familiar who, what, where, when, why, and how sequence. This will allow you to go through each of those different components to rid your mindset of the things that are no longer serving this life that you're preparing for, and welcome the things that will push that forward more efficiently. Let's start first with the who. So this is definitely the most important. And unfortunately, people impact the way we move more than they should. But it's true. You know, if you have somebody in your ear, your own thoughts, some other person holding you back, this can absolutely have a real impact on whether or not you'll be able to be successful. So the first thing is to take stock of who is in your life that's adding value and supporting you on your goals and who is not. So what does it look like when somebody is in fact productive toward this? They will ask you questions that will be able to spark a useful dialogue and curiosity and new inputs into what it is that you're building, rather than ask you questions to try to trip you up or make you think you don't know what you're doing, or they're make you question whether or not this is what you want when this is clearly what you want. And so there's a fine line, but it's critical to be able to distinguish this. So it's taking stock across every single person in your life. And I mean everybody. Your significant other, this is your parent or your parent figure, your boss, your friends, your cousins, your coworkers, your neighbor who's making noise over there, right? Everybody is at risk to understand whether or not they're adding value into your life. And of course, many of these people that may not be adding value to your life are unavoidable. You won't be able to stop communication with them, and that's not the goal, but you need to be able to do 2 specific things in order to make sure that they don't impact the path that you're on to your success without shunning them from your life, unless you want to do that, by all means. But if you don't, or you're not in a position to, this is how you rid of the naysayers. Those 2 dimensions are compartmentalizing what you talk to them about and when you talk to them. So that what is, of course you will likely run by them this idea that you have. You don't need to do that. It's up to you if you want to. That's a very important thing to recognize. But if you do, you will quickly see whether or not there's somebody who is coming in with the energy of, this is dope. Like, I might have some questions, I might have curiosity or advice, but this is dope and I want to see you rise. Or they ask you questions in the like, okay, like you really, like you think you're you? Like you think that's gonna be you? That one is what gets me the most. Like, yes, don't be confused. This is where I'm going. Okay, don't get me started. But it's these kinds of questions that are more testing you or trying to trip you up or make it seem like you don't know what you're doing or that it won't work for you or you're not the one. And of course it can be hard. You don't have to be like, well, you're not adding to my success, or you don't have to say anything like that unless you can pull that off. But you can always say something like, okay, thank you. I'll keep you updated with how this continues. But like, yeah, good to keep that perspective in mind. What that teaches them is, okay, like I heard you, right? That's probably why they're trying to make all that noise. They want to be heard. Okay, I heard you. I'll reach out to you if I need you, right? But don't expect an update anytime soon because I'm not going to be talking to you about this. That's how to stop the conversation. And then the time is, even if you're no longer talking about that topic anymore, you do want to make sure that you don't invite that energy away from the times that you're getting ready to be in your zone. We'll get to that later, but this is when you need to say, okay, let me call my mom like after work, right? Or let me talk to my friends like at night. But in the morning when I'm trying to get myself ready, I'm not going to respond to your text. I'm not going to call you and talk gossip about it. I'm going to focus on me, get the best things that I can accomplish for the day out of the way. And then, okay, sure, like all of these other inputs can come into me when I'm doing busy work or other things like this. But you can't have those people come into your life, whether or not you're talking about your goals, at a time when you're trying to focus on your goals, because it has a risk of distracting you away from that, bringing an energy that you don't need. And I'll tell you, I've learned this the hard way, unfortunately, but it is so important for you to focus on yourself. You have to be centered. You have to be the person who's steering your own ship, or else this is not going to work for you. So that's the who, and let's move on to the what. The what is making sure that you figure out what exactly it is that you are chasing. Now, you don't have to have it completely nailed. You don't have to know like the address of the house, but you have to know the general city, right? I want to be able to do this in this way with this kind of people and have this level of impact and live my life in this kind of way, right? So that you get as detailed as possible. If you don't do this, you'll find that you'll have a number of different things that you can do to start taking action, but they'll be either bringing you on different paths and then not making you go as quickly as possible toward the key destination that you want to go to, and that you'll find yourself moving to different kinds of goals and again, getting nowhere. So it's key that you make sure that you narrow down on exactly what it is that you want. And then, most importantly, when you do that, I want you to name 3 things that you can start doing today in order to start making that happen. Now, a lot of people get tripped up on this. A lot of people go, okay, well, I want to be a lawyer, so I have to go get a law degree. It's like, that's not the first step that you take, is go get a law degree. It's what can you literally do today, and try to make it as tiny as possible. It could be researching the schools that are available to you, or finding out what YouTube University can teach you about the area, or understanding if there's people on LinkedIn that you can talk to about what it is like to be an attorney, or the kind of attorney that you actually want to be. This is something you can do today. And frankly, while the 3 things that you choose are going to be important, and I would love for you to act on them today, that would be amazing, the exercise is meant to show you and prove to you that you can get started in the smallest chunks, and some big audacious goal that you have is actually achievable step by step by step. A principle that I have had to learn also the hard way is the practice of discipline, coupled with the understanding that it's about the actions that you take and not the end result. I heard this and I'm like, yeah, okay, like what do you mean? Like I have this big goal, like that's what I'm thinking about. Why would I focus on some small thing and like act like that doesn't exist? Obviously that's where I want to go. But I appreciate it very much. Once you showcase to yourself that, hey, this is something I can start doing today, things will seem much more achievable for you. So you get focused and clear about exactly what it is that you want. Note what it is that you don't want and what you don't care about. We'll talk a bit more about that later. And then also share, even if for just practice sake, 3 things that you could do today that would actually get you to the next milestone in your goals. Let's move on to where. Where is very important. Where is about evaluating the space that you have in order to be in the best zone of thinking, the best frame of mind for excellence, and where it is that you feel you can expend the energy that you need in order to make this happen for you. And I heard this from Jay Shetty. He probably heard it from somewhere else. Like he does a very good job attributing his references and inspiration. And it's that a space has an energy and a time has a memory. I actually really deeply resonated with this because it rang true to me as soon as I heard it, and I found so many examples where this was true, right? So for example, my 4-year-old will be downstairs with me, jumping up and down crazy, watching music videos with me, having a whole party, and as soon as we get up to her room for her to go to sleep, she starts getting tired, and within minutes, she is asleep. Like, side note, this was not the case for a long time. There were plenty of nights where she was just in our bed with us, staying up till midnight. That was just how we rolled. But now we have developed a practice where the space of her room has the energy of calm and let's go to sleep, and you have kindergarten in the morning, and a beautiful thing that has now become a practice where that energy is associated with her falling asleep. Same with the time, right? I'm sure you can relate to this yourself as you get tired, or the few people, I am not one of them, but have no alarm or start getting tired at 2:30 at work or start getting restless at 4:30, right? Like all of these kinds of things have energies and memories. And I think it's important for you to take advantage of that in what it is that will drive you toward your goals. Actually brings us to the when, which is a bit related. And you need to decide when it is in your day that you're going to be able to have this focus time. When are you in the zone? When can you appreciate and take in these inputs of inspiration, and how can you use that to your advantage to make sure that you can do this on a consistent basis? So for me, I don't do this first thing when I wake up. I go straight to my kid and get her ready. But for some of you, you may do this as soon as you wake up, right? That's great. It's do it when you have that zone. I take a moment at around 8:30 in the morning every single day to recenter myself, to understand what kind of thing I want to accomplish that morning. And I make sure that that thing is where I uniquely can contribute value, where I need the best energy and focus, and I make sure that that's clear on my mind during that time. I also kind of zen out a bit, and I make sure that I don't have a lot of distractions, or I'm not pinging people on Slack or trying to answer some certain email or doing this thing that I was doing late at night before, but instead just try as much as I can to block out everything else, listen to things that are motivating for me, get clear on what it is that I want to make impact on, and then do that thing. And that's how I've been able to develop something where every single day I am doing something very effective toward my goals, and I don't end the day with, gosh, I didn't get that thing done. Of course, you will have your exceptions, or things will take longer than you think, but doing that every single morning and trusting that you'll have that again the next day to recenter. There might be moments of your day that are particularly inspiring for you, or where you find that you have the best thoughts also, like whether it's, taking your dog for a walk, or when you're in the shower, or when you're working out, or when you're driving. Those are also moments that you should take advantage of and make sure that you use it as an opportunity to center in on the kind of thing that you want to get done that you think will have the most impact toward your goal today. Form it during that time. Do it in a time when you can repeatedly get something done in that energy and in that space. And I can assure you that you will be very well on your path in order to make this happen for you. This is achievable. I'm not saying, spend 8 hours a day grinding, or, wake up at 4:30 in the morning or stay up until 3 a.m. You don't need that formula. You just need a dedicated 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, if that's all you have, to make sure that you're clear and centered about what you do. Reliably do that every single day, and then find perhaps an hour or 2 hours if you can swing it in order to get that thing done. You will feel accomplished, you will feel focused, and you will inevitably be making concrete progress toward your goals. Okay, let's talk about why. So of course you need an underlying motivation for why you're doing this. This is also critically important. You could want something, you can have a goal, but as soon as you try to understand why exactly it is that you want to achieve that, one, it will make clear whether or not this is actually something you want or whether it's imposed by somebody else, say your parents or some other goal that it's like, I'm doing this so that I can make them happy. Cut that out immediately and move on to something else. That is a whole video in and of itself. But once you figure out, okay, it's because I want more money, security for my family, recognition, flexibility to spend more time doing something creative, whatever it is, get clear on exactly what that is, because then that will be able to propel you to think of nothing else besides achieving that underlying thing. For me, it's the financial security of my family. I want to make sure that we're good. I want to make sure that we rid of not being able to carry generational wealth in past and be able to build that for our family ahead. And that is what fuels me every single day. And the other thing that's critically important to me is to make impact on people. I thrive off of seeing people in their zone, immersing in what it is that they love. That is the storyline to my entire career. I want everybody to be able to do exactly what it is that they're passionate about. And as soon as I see that somebody is able to do that, that is where I light up. And that is what I optimize for. And every single move in my career and business that I have created now and will create in future all surround whether or not somebody is able to more deeply and more effectively immerse in their passion, unapologetically. So that's my mission statement in my life and my career. I'm living it. I want other people to live it. And every single thing I do surrounds that. And that's very clear to me, right? That's a very clear why. So anything that distracts, that doesn't optimize for those two things happening, maybe it brings some other benefit or it makes somebody else happy or that, like, cool, but that's not going to drive me toward my goal. So the last thing is how. How are you going to make this happen? And the way you have to think about this is, what system are you going to put in place in order to be accountable here? Now, in this exercise, I don't want you to develop your full system. That's for another day, for another video, for another time when you're more in implementation mode. But when you're getting your mind right, you just have to do one thing. How are you going to ensure and check in with yourself every single day that you are staying true to making sure that the other 5, the who, the what, the where, the when, and the why, are aligned with your actions that day? You check in with yourself and you say, okay, am I making sure that I am compartmentalizing the way that I interact with the people who aren't adding value to contribute to my goals and embracing the people who are? Am I very clear on what it is that my goal is, and am I doing small actions every single day to a milestone that gets me there? Am I making sure that I am consistently in a space dedicated to making sure that I'm clear on what it is that's most impactful for me today to get done, and then do that thing and have the right time to do it? Or are things in the way that are distracting you from getting that done, and how do I get rid of those distractions and re-optimize that situation? Am I making sure to do this every single day and being consistent and having that diligence and that discipline to make sure that this is something that stays consistent in my life? And am I doing this in a way that aligns with exactly why I'm doing this? So that's your how. You check in, you just sit down, you lay down, you think, like, is this working? And lean into the things that are, to make sure that they still happen and that you keep them sacred so that you can stay on this path and this journey. And this, my friends, will get you into the mode and the mindset that you need in order to make sure that you are ready for this life that you're walking into. I can't tell you how fruitful this refocus and this recenter had been in my life, to honestly go from like a very frazzled, frantic, like 20-hour days of working while I have kids, like no sleep, like just a crazy situation, to be extremely efficient with my time, with my goals, be able to spend far more time with my children, less time on actually making my dream happen, but that time in the right way. It sounds crazy that I now have more free time than I did before, and my life operates in a completely different way than it did when I was kind of at my worst in execution of this. It felt like it was at my best because I was hustle grind, like the whole thing that we all hear. But I can't tell you how efficient it has been since I moved to this method and got my mind right, that I'm able to accelerate at the same pace, but in a much more structured, impactful way. And I want, again, all of you to get ahead of that and do that in your life. So what did we accomplish here? You now have a 360-degree foolproof method to unapologetically immerse yourself in exactly what it is that you want to make happen. That is a beautiful thing. This is exactly what it is that you need in order to make sure your mind is right to get toward your goals. And I want to see that happen for you. So thank you so much. We made it through. Kind of things broke along the way, but I will get better at this, I promise. Thank you for watching the video. Thank you for sticking around with me. And of course, if you found any value out of this, please give this video a like and comment below with what it is that you took from this. Also, let me know what it is that you want to hear from me on this channel. I have a ton of thoughts of the things that I can share, but it's very important to me that I'm doing what serves you best. So don't forget to go get that sheet if you haven't already to make sure that you can do this for you. Subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, hit the bell. Am I hitting all of the things? And thank you so much. I cannot wait to see this life happen for you, and let's do it together. All right? Talk to you soon. Bye.